Hello, the show opens with the Pro Wrestling Logic here, and Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic. The show opens in this particular occasion as being Dynamite for the 11th of um, June 2021. These Friday shows feel flat. They really do. They feel needless, and I understand being in an old pattern because of the challenges with scheduling due to being on TNT. But at the same time, what's the point of having shows that really you can skip? So they open the show with Pinnacle arriving in a limousine. Matt Hardy, flanked by Hybrid 2, addresses Christian Cage. He said Christian's jealous of how much money Hardy makes and that he'd never financially recover from this. And Helico's mission in the match is to injure Christian. I don't understand why Matt Hardy feels the need to be involved in this, and it feels overbooked. Christian defeats Angelico with Matt Hardy and Jack Evans. Chain wrestling early, Angelico getting the better of Christian, which makes sense because Angelico's younger and faster than Christian is. Christian nails him and does the old school 10 punches in the corner spot. Stays on the top rope, but Angelico cuts him off and brings him down hard. Angelico taunts Christian and targets on his arm. Christian fights back with a couple of strikes and a sunset flip. Angelico tries pretty desperately to get things going back his way and tries to turn it into the Navarro death roll before landing a soccer kick. He tries a modified Juji Gatami attempt, but Christian reaches the ropes and tries to break it, and then Christian makes a comeback with a inverted tornado DDT. But a drop kick from Christian gets a near fall. Angelico sends Christian to the floor, and Evans tries to get involved, but Christian scares him away and hits a neck breaker over the ropes and hits a diving headbutt, falling for a 2 count. Angelico wrenches Christian's arm and takes him down. Christian counters with a dive and an up kick and gets a near fall out of that. Kicking a jackknife pin for Angelico gets two count of his own, and Ripcord leads to a double down between the two. Christian avoids corner attack and hits a pendulum kick followed by a diving uppercut. He goes for the kill switch and stares at Hardy and goes for the win. I guess we're going to see Matt Hardy and Christian at some point. I guess that's fine. Evans attacks after the match, and absolutely nobody cared, but Christian fights him off. Hardy uses the numbers advantage, hits Twist of Fate, and Jungle Boy runs out for the save. I guess there's going to be an alliance between Christian and Jungle Boy, tying back into the pay-per-view, which does make sense. First four shows on the road will be specials. July 7th will be Road Ranger. July 14th, Flyer Fest Night 1. July 21st, Flyer Fest Night 2. First one in Austin, Texas. Second one in Dallas. And 7/28 Fight for the Fallen in Charlotte, North Carolina on the 28th. Then we go to a Cody Rhodes interview. Shivani announces that Brock Anderson, the son of Arn, will be making his debut next week in a tag match, teaming with Cody against QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. He brought out Cody, Arn, and Brock. Cody said next week Brock will steal home base and hit a home run. It's tough standing in the roles that the dads have for us, but if anyone can do it, Brock can do it. Cody wants revenge himself, considering last week he was beaten by Anthony Ogogo. Marshall interrupted and said he pinned Cody in the middle of the ring all by himself, just like he came out all by himself. He told Cody that he'd had enough with the nepotism and passion projects. When they go on the road, Marshall wants a full house to see him beat Cody up, and he proposed a South Beach strap match. Cody wanted to do the match now, but cooler heads prevail. Marshall whipped Anderson with his belt. Brock takes Marshall down with a Fez press before officials run in to break it up. I really hope that Brock Anderson makes it work, and Anderson name continuing matters to me, and Arn is really supportive of his kid without being over the top, which is nice in a wrestling context. Video promo played where Eddie Kingston says the enemy. The enemy is my friend. He said they'd have to work together, but Pac just stayed silently and walked off. Don Callis joins commentary as we see Eddie Kingston, Pac, and Penta defeat Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. What a waste of a match. I know people love the Bucks, but in all honesty, this is just here just to be here. Eddie Kingston is such a talented individual, but he's older in his career and should be used sparingly with meaningful things. The bouncy of the Bucks is absolutely useless if you're not going to use it to build things up and just have matches to attempt to get old man Meltzer's attention. Pac and Matt start off. Matt gets beat down easy. Bucks force Cutler to tag in. He's taken down by Pac. Kingston wants to tag in, but Pac ignores him. Penta hits a diving stomp to the rear for 2. Penta basically goes after Cutler's tracksuit and hits him with a chop. Kingston tags in and hits repeated knees to the gut. Following up a stomp for near fall, he follows up with a vertical suplex and an elbow for another near fall. Pac then targets himself and tags himself in, leaving Kingston to exchange words, and then Pac takes flight and Cutler and imploded on him, and I gotta grab my phone. So I will be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail to finish this review. So anyway, I mean, this type of the 6-man match without 6-man titles. If they're going in the direction of 6-man titles, that's fine. But if they're not, they're kind of getting pointless, to be completely honest. Kingston tags in, hits a bunch of knees, hits a stomp, and then comes in with a vertical suplex, elbow drop for another near fall. Pac tags himself back in, and he exchanges words with Kingston, and then takes the fight to Cutler and basically begs the Bucks to tag in. Matt did, and immediately he's taken out with a hip toss and a drop kick. Nick tries entering the ring, doesn't get where he wants to, but is tripped up by Pac, allowing Matt to hit a drop kick ahead of a commercial, because we still take commercial breaks in the middle of matches. Bucks and Cutler control throughout the break. Pac kicks his way out of reach, and then Kingston comes in with a hot tag. Kingston sends Matt flying in with a belly to belly suplex before taking out Nick with an exploder. Penta tags in and hits a diving cross body, which works for a little while. Doesn't really work that long, but it works for a little while. Anyway, so, and then Cutler comes in, Penta gets out of the way, and then there's double super kicks. Penta rolls out with a Cazadora into a destroyer on Nick. Cutler swept out Penta's legs, but kicks out from Matt, and then there's a bunch of mini trouble there. Penta hits Made in Japan. Cutler runs in and breaks up the pin. Pac then tags in, and Kingston stomps Cutler from hitting Pac with the camera. Then we get a parade of big moves and concludes with a step up from Penta. Pac then hits a 450 splash on Matt and transitions into a brutalizer. Nick then breaks it up. Kingston then cuts Nick off with a boot, and then Pac hits a couple of dives to the outside. Matt rolls Pac up with a handful of tights for a near fall. Pac then lands kicks, but kicks from Nick allow Matt to hit an enziguri, and then a buckle bomb. Cutler tags back in. Pac avoids a springboard leg drop. Kingston nails Cutler with a spinning back fist, allowing Pac to pin him for the win. I don't know. match did not need to happen. It was fine for spot, but it doesn't do anything for the company as a whole. Bucks immediately attack after the match. Good Brothers run in. Frankie Kazarian runs out and evens the odds. Crushes Cutler with a running lariat for good measure. Video plays. Basically aiming to acknowledge a conspiracy against Kenny Omega and the world title. Comedy, mocking documentaries like Dark Side of the Ring and others. And it basically is made to look like Omega is defying the odds. Anyway, Pinnacle's here. Harwood says that the Stadium Stampede didn't go their way, and he calls out Santana and Ortiz, saying that they are FTR and they weren't any different. They both overcame adversity and made something of themselves. Difference is that Santana and Ortiz lost their edge. Harwood's got a wife and kid, and he uses his edge to fill his bank account. Wheeler doesn't have a family, and he doesn't care about theirs. FTR works together to build their legacy, while Santana and Ortiz are happy being a footnote. I actually like the intensity of that part of the promo. Spears says that Guevara got lucky. It's ridiculous that Jericho called him a hero last week. Guevara's nothing more than a glorified indie wrestler. I tend to agree with this. Pinnacle are professionals, and Spears is the hero. Wouldn't go that far. Wardlow said that Hager is obsessed with him. He brings out the best in Hager. Hager invited Wardlow to his comfort zone because they know that he could never beat Wardlow in a wrestling ring. No matter where they are, they're always in Wardlow's world. He accepts Hager's challenge for the MMA style fight. MJF is tired of acting like he's got something to prove when he's already the best. Being the best is difficult and brings pressure. He grew up idolizing Jericho. He watched every promo and read every book. Back in 2019, after Double or Nothing rally, MJF showed Jericho backstage. His heart was beating a million miles a minute before he'd have the opportunity to work with Jericho. That should have been a dream come true, but it wasn't. That haunted MJF at night until it hit him. He'd been idolizing a false god. He thought he would be like Jericho, but Jericho's not even on MJF's level. He's already beaten Jericho twice, so his match request is denied. Jericho appeared on the video board. Pinnacle knew what happens when they don't give the Inner Circle what they want. They can talk it over, and they're walking home. Camera pans over to Pinnacle, smashing the Inner Circle's or the Inner Circle smashing the Pinnacle's limo with sledgehammers, and Floyd Santana slashes the tires and Ortiz spray painted the side. Hager appeared with a forklift, ramming it through the side of the limo and lifting it up. Guevara said he'd fight MJF any day of the week. Darby Allin answers Scorpio Sky's and Ethan Page's challenge. He said he wouldn't replace Sting next week. He wants it to be a handicap match. He told Sting to stay home. Sting's concerned, but Allin said, "I'm not stupid," and he wants to prove to them that he can beat them. Sting said Allen's got nothing to prove. Allin told Sting to stay home. After some hesitation, they bumped fists. I don't necessarily know where that goes, but it's interesting, and I like that story. If Darby beats both of them, it'll look bad, but maybe other people aid Darby and he makes a new friend. Who knows? Anyway, video played where Evil Uno talked about his relationship with Mr. Brody Lee. He calls him one of his best friends. Uno's thrilled to see any Dark Order member win the TNT Championship, but he selfishly wants it for himself. Obviously, he wants to make Brody Lee proud. Miro is going to find out just how devastating Uno can be. So Miro defeats Evil Uno with the Dark Order, as obviously should be. Anyway, so Miro overpowers Uno right away. He lays in a bunch of stiff shots and chops. Miro shrugging him off, but sends him to the floor. He's frustrated. He drags Uno to the floor, but Uno avoids a right hand. Miro punches the ring post. Cannonball Senton soon follows afterwards. Back in the ring, Miro cuts Uno off with a back suplex, beating him down throughout a commercial break. Once again, hits a running shoulder block from Miro, sends Uno to the floor. Stu Grayson and Alan Angels run out to support Uno, and Uno barely makes it back in the ring at a 9 count. Miro rolls to the floor and sends Grayson over the barricade before pursuing Angels. Uno comes back with a jawbreaker before landing a forearm, running Rana, and Miro is down, and he does the big boot a la Brody Lee. Uno climbs the top rope and lands a senton, but Miro kicked out at a 1 count, -1, and the rest of the Dark Order run out to cheer on Uno. Uno stomped on Miro's hands and lands some forearms. Miro catches a crossbody and rolls Uno up for a 2 count. Miro then sends him into the turnbuckle on a kick out, and Uno covers for a near fall. Uno calls for the discus lariat. Miro shrugs it off and levels Uno with a lariat of his own. Miro locked on the game over, forcing Uno to tap out. I mean, it's the right move, but it's kind of sad that they keep saying they're going to avenge Brody Lee and it doesn't happen. I hope that eventually it's a member of the Dark Order that beats Miro. Maybe Hangman Page would make the most sense. Anyway, Andrade El Idolo packages, and it's him putting on a suit. He basically says he's a face of Latinos. He'll sit down with Jim Ross next week. Kenny Omega Don Callis interview. Callis calls Jungle Boy a one-hit wonder for outlasting 20 men in the Battle Royal. Omega's not going to act like Jungle Boy is some incredible challenger. He's betting on himself, and he'll beat anyone and say anything. He sees a little bit of Omega in himself. One day, Jungle Boy might be champion, but there's something Jungle Boy is missing. Omega asks what Jungle Boy is missing, and Callis says he doesn't have the guts. Jungle Boy's music plays, and he comes out. Omega said that he's surprised because he's never known Jungle Boy to be a promo guy. He knows Jungle Boy has nothing to say because he doesn't have guts. He then asked Callis if anyone's better on the mic than him, and Callis said no. He gives Jungle Boy 5 seconds to speak. Jungle Boy simply said, "You talk way too much," which I agree with, because it's not even a heel thing, but I don't like Kenny Omega promos. Babyface, heel, or indifferent, flippy-floppy, supposed 7-star Wonder Boy. And then Jungle Boy avoids this. Omega breaks his eyes. Jungle Boy fights out. Tries to lock him in the snare trap. Young Bucks run out for the save. Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling cut a promo. Sterling said that Cargill's revenue is up by 43%. They've gotten in the hangers-on and bamboozlers. Cargill's got a family to feed, and they're ensuring she can feed them. Cargill said she should capitalize on the catchphrase, and then says the less than PG-friendly catchphrase. Scorpio Sky said that he and Ethan Page gave Allen an opportunity, but he didn't take it. He said this is the dumbest decision Allen's ever made. Page said these actions have consequences, and they're already done all these things to Allen. What's he going to do when they pin him in the middle of the ring? It's only up from here for these Men of the Year. Kind of goofy. Lance Archer with Jake Roberts defeats Chandler Hopkins. Archer attacks before the bell and cuts a springboard and a choke slam, and then hits the blackout for the squash victory. I don't even know why he's on the show with this. Wingman Smoke Nemeth says Orange Cassidy is poorly dressed, so they invited him for a makeover. And then they talk about Cesar Bononi rearranging his face. What a waste of Orange Cassidy. They pushed him, and then they're going to do this. Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero defeats Layla Hirsch. Not a fan of this either. Rose attacks before the bell and hits a body slam. Hirsch surprises Rose with a cross arm breaker, forcing Rose to head for the ropes. She lays in repeated forearms, a shotgun dropkick, sending Rose to the floor. Rose intercepts a tope and hits Hirsch into the ring frame. They brawl to the floor with Hirsch avoiding a right hand, so Rose punches the ring post. Kind of a rerun from the Miro match. Hirsch goes for an armbar on the floor. Rose then fights out and sends Hirsch into the barricade. Power slam from Rose gets a 2 ahead of the break. Back from the break, Hirsch lands a released German suplex and a Shining Wizard. She follows it up with a step-up moonsault. Rose grabs the ropes and goes for a cover. Hirsch goes for the cross arm breaker again, but power out with a one-arm powerbomb is what Rose does this time. Rose drapes Hirsch over the top rope, but it takes too long to follow up, and they fought up top, but Rose then sends Hirsch to the mat. Hirsch popped up and goes for the top rope Frankensteiner, but Rose catches it and lands an avalanche beast bomb for the win. Sad that they're wasting Layla Hirsch, who could be something really special in a Nyla Rose reattempted push. Britt Baker, joined by Rebel, is interviewed. She addresses Rose, saying that she's mad about Rose interrupting her celebration. She admonished Rose for making fun of Hirsch and her height. Baker already is the best champ in company history, but Rose has nothing. She's just another jealous chick in the back. Title makes Nyla Rose, but Baker makes the title, just like she's made the division. And then there we go. Next week's Dynamite lineup is, Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers versus Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Frankie Kazarian, another useless six-way. Andrade sits down with Jim Ross, Orange Cassidy, Cesar Bononi, 2-on-1 handicap match. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page versus Darby Allin, MMA rules match. Jake Hager versus Wardlow, and Cody Rhodes and Brock Anderson versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. July 26th, Omega versus Jungle Boy. Hangman Page and Preston 10 Vance defeat Team Taz, Brian Cage, and Powerhouse Hobbs. I like the fact that Cage is on the show. I don't like the fact that he's with Dark Order goofs. And I also don't like the fact that, to be honest, Hobbs and Cage are being wasted here. Cage and Page start off. Cage throws shoulders into Page's midsection. Page turns around, beats Cage down in the corner. Both men have each other very well scouted. Then 10 makes a blind tag and lands strikes on Cage. Sends Cage into the corner and lands a pump kick. Hobbs cuts him off with a kick and allows Team Taz to take control. Assisted powerbomb gets 2 as Hobbs tags in. 10 gets a brief flurry of offense, but's cut off with a knee to the midsection into the commercial. 10 lands on his feet and gets an F5 attempt and takes down Cage with a pump kick again. Hobbs then makes a blind tag, but 10 takes him out with another pump kick, allowing him to reach Page for the hot tag. Hobbs goes and hits a power slam. Page goes up for the plancha on Cage. Cage catches him, but Page counters into the Rana. Back in the ring, moonsault press from Page. Hobbs then hits a 2 count. And then there's the attempt at the buckshot lariat, but Hobbs cuts him off with a crossbody before 10 breaks up the pinfall. Tiharis and 10 is in the ropes. Cage hits a tiger fake kick, but Cage takes him out with a springboard clothesline. 10 tags in, hits a spine buster on Hobbs. Hobbs forces 10 into the corner, allowing for Cage to tag. Cage lands a flurry of offense on 10, follows by a high-low with Hobbs, but 10 kicks out at 2. Hook distracts the official, and Starks throws Cage the belt. Cage tosses it aside. Starks then slaps Cage, and Cage pursues him to the back. 10 tries to take advantage, but Hobbs hits a spinebuster. Page breaks up the pin last second. Hobbs then sends Page to the floor. 10 hits a ripcord cutter, and Page hits a buckshot lariat, allowing the win. -1, and the rest of the Dark Order come out and celebrate. I hope this means that there's officially a Brian Cage babyface turn, because if not, it's goofy. Anyway, till next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.